we go. There we go, look at that. So let me show you guys a little hack on how to remove the serpentine belts on and off. The best place to slide it on and off. I find that find just a pulley with a smooth surface, or the smallest pulley, and if you just slide it off on the smaller end, it's much easier. All right guys, so we are working on a 2011 Ford Transit Connect. So it looks like this. So if you have one of these, this is a 2-liter. There's no other options besides electric. We are replacing the power steering pump. Now this is a real pain in the butt, so I want to share with you guys how to get this power steering pump out. And there's no videos on the internet showing you how to do this. There's lots of other models of the similar engine, but not the 2.0 in this Ford Transit Connect. So, so this reservoir actually kind of broke off while I was trying to get this thing apart, and it's not completely out. So, and I want to show you guys what I discovered here to make this job hopefully easier for you guys if you guys are watching this video. So there are 4 bolts on here. There's 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Okay, hold on, bear with me here. Here we go. Okay, so there's 1 bolt right here, okay? Now that was a real pain just to get to. So what I had to do was, number 1, to remove the pressure sensor, which looks like this. Okay, so if you guys just remove this, and this is a 14mm nut on here, you just unscrew it and kind of comes out. There's no room down there to get any type of, wrench down in the hole. These are stubby wrenches, and that's what you need to get that, that nut off. On top of that, there's, if you guys go right above, you can't see it on the camera very well. Let me zoom in. This is your high pressure line that goes out from the pump. So right above there, there's an 18mm nut under your pump right there. And you're gonna need a stubby wrench, just like I showed you, to get that off. So there's that. Now to get to that nut, you gotta take off the pulley right here. So I was trying to do it without taking the pulley off. Now this isn't, the case for every power steering pump, but this particular one, because of the 18mm nut, that pulley was in the way, and just getting to that nut was a real pain in the butt. So just grab yourself or rent a pulley extractor and installer as well. You're gonna need a pulley and installer kit that looks kind of like this. And you can rent this from O'Reilly. I happened to pick up this from O'Reilly for like 40 bucks, and it's part number 67010. And this is made by EverTough brand. And this seems to be like all their products they use is EverTough for their, the lease or the rental tool program. So basically, like in the kit, you're gonna come with 2 types of adapters. One is to pull the pulley out, and the other one is to push the pulley back into the pump. So what you want to do is you want to grab this piece right here. This little adapter is it's going to be the thickest one, and usually in the kit, and it's got a smooth end right here. The smooth end is basically going to connect with this bolt right here in the middle of your pulley. And so as you're tightening up this pulley, I'm sorry, this bolt right here, you can kind of see that it's pushing this bolt out this way, right? So that's the whole concept on pulling the pulley out, is you'll need to take your adapter, and on the pulley there's a collar right here, and on the adapter there are 2 collars on here as well. One is a little bit, it's got a higher profile, and the other one's got a low profile, so this can work with multiple types of pulleys. For my application here, I think we're going to use the higher collar. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set this guy up and pull it out a little bit more. You're going to set your adapter right here. You're going to take the other half of this and sandwich it together, and take your sleeve and go over the whole thing. And you're just going to basically tighten up your bolt right here, and as you tighten it, it kind of sandwiches everything together. And that's how we're going to install this on the van. But I just want to show you guys here on the bench, because it might be hard to see in the video once we get in the van. It's pretty self-explanatory, but towards the end of the video, when I go and install the new pump on here, I'll show you guys how to pull the pulley out and install it. But for now that I got this pulley off, I can now get my 18 So you guys can see here, there's really no room for a standard size wrench. So that's why you need to get yourself a stubby one from Harbor Freight or wherever. And so far, man, I can't believe how tight these wrenches fit on the nut. It's pretty amazing. So if I like these wrenches so much, I might go buy myself a standard length wrenches, because again, these are pretty awesome. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to continue to get that 18 millimeter bolt out, and then right behind the 18 millimeter bolt, there's another 10 millimeter. You guys can see it right there, the shiny thing. That is the fourth 10 millimeter bolt that holds the pump on your motor. So once I remove the 18 millimeter or unscrew that at the high pressure line, I can get to that 10 millimeter bolt there. So let's get started. Oh, there we go. Okay, wow, what is that? Okay, so now that's loose. We can get a 10 millimeter socket in there. Again, it's really hard to see in here, so just bear with me. Okay, and here's the bolt number 3. So again, I got the top 2 out. That goes right here. Okay, and then bolt number 4. And then here's the power steering pump. Okay. All right, so what I want to do is show you guys where this thing was leaking from. And this is probably a common problem, because this is like a weak point right here. You guys can see where the reservoir comes into the actual pump right here. Okay, so you see the movement right there? That's where it was leaking from right there. So that's unfortunate. So hopefully we're not gonna have any issues with this guy. I'm gonna use the factory bolts. Now this thing did come with their own set of bolts, but I like the factory much better, and I highly recommend you guys also use the factory bolts. It's a lot higher grade, hardware. Okay, so once again, this is a 10 millimeter. Okay, and again, just be very careful when you guys do this, because the bolts are, because the reservoir is, it's pretty brittle plastic, so you want to be careful. It's a little bit different putting it back in, because when I took this thing out, the cover broke, so it was pretty straightforward. There we go. Okay, so this one you gotta have a little patience as well, because you can't really see with that reservoir on there. I'm just gonna snug this one up just a little bit. Because I have a feeling that we're gonna have to loosen that up a little bit to get the high pressure line on. Okay. All right, guys. So these bolts are 25 to 30 foot-pounds, and I'm gonna torque it down to 25 foot-pounds, and I'm gonna do a crisscross pattern. Okay, so this cap came fitted inside the new power steering pump, and I took this O-ring off of there, and I'm going to use this on here. And there's just like no room go. Okay, that went on there pretty nice actually. Okay, so that looks like it's meant to be right down in there. The hard part is going to be trying to get this thing threaded into the power steering pump. And this is where I was saying earlier that I may need to undo these bolts because this high pressure line is a rigid line. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this. Shoot. So I'm going to have to do this twice. So I'm going to have to undo these 4 bolts. Maybe loosen up like halfway so I can move it around so I can get this. There's a nipple on top of this high pressure line. It's just not going to go underneath that thing with the pump in there the way it is and this line being rigid. Yeah. Okay, so lesson learned. If anything helps you guys on this video, I hope that this part right here is a lesson learned moment. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and undo this off camera. And once I've completed this, and I'll come back to the video. Hey guys, I want to give you a quick update. Everything went on pretty easy, smooth, no problem, until it came to putting this wire harness back on the power steering pressure sensor, and I ended up breaking it, and this was a real pain because there's just, again, it's like no room. I wish that this connector housing was just a little bit narrow or shorter, if you will. It was because it's so long and tall. I was really fighting the intake and trying to get this wire connector on there. So I ended up breaking it, and here's a trick I found to getting this thing on. So by the way, here's the part number. Napa Dorman 926435, and this was, you know, $55 with AAA discount. So what I want to show you guys is this diagram. So this is where the pressure sensor goes on right here, and because I was fighting the air intake to get around this, I had to take a 14 millimeter, like a stubby wrench that I bought at Harbor Freight. And by the way, this little stubby wrench set has come in so handy for this particular job because you can't fit a conventional length wrench under here. It's just super tight. Anyways, what I had to do was actually take this wrench and stick it. There's like a square block where this sensor goes into. So if you take your wrench and stick it right there on the backside and turn it just a little bit, that will kind of point towards the front of the front of the vehicle, and then from there you can actually, let me zoom in a little bit here. From there you can actually get that sensor wire harness clipped onto the actual sensor itself. So that was a real bugger. Unfortunately, I broke it, but it's probably a good thing too because this was pretty brittle. Anyway, just want to give you a quick update on that. Okay, so now I got the high pressure line put on and also the low pressure line put on. It slid in pretty easily. I did use a little bit of silicone WD-40 on the nipple, the plastic piece of the reservoir, and then I was able to slide that hose in pretty easily. If you guys recall, it was a real bugger trying to take that thing off. So this time I put a little silicone on there to make sure I can get on there easily, and it did. Okay, so now we're at a point where we can put the pulley on, and then after that we'll put some fluid in here, put the belt on, and we'll bleed the power steering. So let me show you guys how to put the pulley back on this guy. In the kit there are different size bolt that you need, and you got to find the one that threads into this pulley right here. Okay, and this is the one that I need right here. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to slide, sorry, here, let me get a little more thread on here. You're going to slide this guy up like so. You can take this bolt and put it right there and get it down in there. Let's see here, I'm going to have to do this. Let me move this out of the way, this reservoir, because it keeps getting in my way. Drive me nuts. So we'll just bring that over here. Oh yeah, much better. So in the kit there are several different sizes of bolt. You want to find one that screws into the actual power steering shaft. Okay, and then once you find that, you want to go ahead and slide in this adapter right here, which is the other adapter, not the one they pull out, pull the pulley out, but there's another one in there like I was mentioning earlier. And you want to go ahead and slide this on there, and then thread in this bolt as far as you can go, and just kind of make sure that this pulley is kind of snug in there best you can with your hands. Don't tighten it, okay? Once it stops, then you want to bring this guy all the way in like this. Then we're going to take our 2 wrenches, and basically we're going to stabilize the outer bolt, and then we're going to turn this inner bolt clockwise, and as we turn this clockwise, it's actually pushing this adapter, this, what do you want to call this thing? I can't think of the word right now. As you turn this, it's actually pushing in the pulley onto that shaft. It's pressing it on there. Let me change it up to the box end. Okay, I think we bottomed out there. That's why it's so hard to drive in there. Up, almost, but I'm wondering if that's probably enough. Okay, I think that's going to be good right there. Now, if we need to come back and make more adjustment after the belt is on, once we crank the engine over, we're going to see right away if it's, you know, enough or not. Remember earlier in the video, I was saying that just when you turn this bolt into that rod, stop when it's tied with the fingers. Don't crank anymore, because you got to be able to, you know, loosen it up when you're done as well. So you don't want that. You don't want to drive it in there with a wrench, just hand tight. Okay, and there you go. All right, guys, so we're ready to weave our belt around the pulleys now. And there's also or should be a diagram under the hood, how your belt goes on. So definitely reference that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so I got the belt back on. That went on pretty easy. And I put a new belt on, by the way. And also, I'm filling up my power steering pump with this Prestone, just a Napa, you know, I got a Napa for like $5. Pretty much any standard power steering fluid will work for this specific vehicle and for this year. So now that I got a full, I probably put a little bit too much in here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to cycle my fluid through the system, and just to get any air bubbles out. So I'm gonna go inside. I got both tires off the ground, and I'm gonna turn the steering wheel lock to lock, you know, like 20 times. So I won't bore you guys to death, but I'll just show you guys what I'm doing just for a few, and then we'll cut the video. So nice thing about the power steering pumping up in the front here, as I'm turning the steering wheel, you can probably see the fluid rising, and I've got my head out the window so I can watch the fluid so it doesn't overflow. And I'm just looking for like any type of air bubble to pop at the surface. Then as I see the fluid rise to the top, I just, you know, stop turning the steering wheel, otherwise you're going to overflow. And the only way to do that is do what I'm doing. Oops, see that bubble right there? Sweet. Only way to do that is just to cycle your rack and ping back and forth about 20 times. So what I mean by that is turn your steering wheel all the way to the right, all the way to the left. That's 1. And repeat that all the way to the right, all the way to the left. That's 2. And you want to do that, like I said, at least 20 times. And don't rush this. You want to make sure you do it correctly. If you don't do it, it's gonna overheat, because you're gonna have air bubbles in the line. You're gonna have premature wear and tear if you have air bubbles in the line. And you might also hear some noises as well. Okay, put the cover back on.